Good morning, you're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now with me Shreyanshi Singh and Ankita Saxena, and this is the show where we get all of your stock related queries answered from both a technical as well as a fundamental perspective. But first things first, we've got to take a look at the markets, and it's looking like it's going to be a lackluster day. There's a tinge of red that you have across a whole host of sectors.
Absolutely, Shreyanshi. In fact, we have corrected from the day's highest point right now. In fact, look at Nifty Bank. That's fallen 1.5% from the day's highs, 871 points down from the day's highest point on the Nifty Bank. We did manage to touch all-time high for Nifty Bank, but now we're seeing a sharp correction coming in. For Nifty also, we are down more than, for Nifty also we were down more than 185 points from the day's highest point. So correction coming in, and broader markets also seen correcting. Mid cap and small caps both trading with cuts of 0.4% and almost 1% for small caps coming in. So largely right now we are correcting from the day's highest point on all account. Sectorally also, right now what's really holding the fort is Nifty IT on the back of the stellar, I wouldn't say stellar, but largely inline set of numbers that HCL Tech has come out with. A mixed set of brokerage notes that have come out with, and that's powering the stock. HCL Tech is trading up more than 6.5% in trade, and that's really pulling up and buoying the sentiment for the IT pack, Coforge, Tech M, Infosys, and Emphasis, all of them are trading with gains of more than 3.5%. So Nifty IT is in the pink of health right now. Nifty Auto is another counter. Nifty Auto and Pharma also are doing pretty well. They're trading with gains of 0.4% right now. Tata Motors is up 2.5% in trade. Nifty Pharma Lupin is doing well. That's trading up 2% in trade right now. So Auto and Pharma are the packs that are doing well in this market. What's not doing well, like I mentioned, is Nifty Bank. That's correcting. Within that, the PSU basket is taking it on the chin with cuts of 1.5% right now. So the PSU banks like Indian Bank, PSB, Canara Bank, Central Bank, they're all trading with cuts of 2.5% or thereabouts. Other stocks that are in focus today, to mention a couple of names, AU Small Finance Banks, these are the earnings candidates. AU Small Finance Bank is in focus on the back of weak set of results that came out for the company. Nuvama is also maintaining a reduce on the counter. But we did see a downtick in the morning, but suddenly there's a buying coming in on AU Small Finance Bank since morning. In fact, that's trading up 5% right now. And we also had Havells with good set of results. We had M&M Finance that missed its estimate, and Tatacom that came out with its results, and a mixed set of results coming in for Tata Consumers as well. So largely these are the stocks that are in focus today on the back of the results. But right now the market breadth looks tilted in the favor of declines.
Well, absolutely. We started the week off quite strong and somewhat on a strong footing, but at this point it looks like we've hit a speed bump. Let's see how the day pans out for us. But with that in mind, let's kickstart taking all of your stock related queries. Before we do that, the number that you can write to us is flashing on the top of your screens as well as on your screens. There you have it. Mention the buy price for the stocks that you're already invested in, as well as the quantity and the time horizon for the stocks that you hope to be investing in, so that our experts can help you better. But with that in mind, let's kickstart the show. Start taking all of your stock related queries. And today on the show, of course, we have Kunal Bothra as well as Shahina Muqaddam, who's an independent analyst, joining us. Kunal, the first one that we have is coming in from Sangeeta, who's writing to us from Mumbai. Of course, the banking pack is in focus. And the first query that we have is coming in for DCB Bank, 250 shares. Hasn't really mentioned the buy price, has in fact mentioned that she's booked losses when it comes to this one, wants to know if she should be buying back when it comes to DCB Bank.
So I would suggest that buying back could be a good strategy, but maybe I think at slight lower levels, I think maybe closer to 120 to 122 zone where the 200 moving average lies for DCB Bank. That could be a good zone where you may look for a contra buy. The stock is starting to get back into the thick of an uptrend, but it's just that on the short-term charts, maybe after yesterday's or last couple of days of price up move, the stock has entered into the overbought territory. So it's a good stock. You can continue to hold on or look to buy, but I think at lower levels, closer to 120 to 122 on the spot.
All right, then the next one that we actually have is coming in from an investor who's Hemavati, in fact, is writing to us about HEL, 100 shares at a buy price of 4,500 rupees. What do you make of this one, Shahina?
Yeah, of course, it's starting to show some good momentum coming back again after a bit of consolidation. The order book position is substantial, and I would believe that it would make a good hold even from current levels. You could hold it. You could even have a target close to about 4,600 with a 1-year target.
moving on then. Coming to you, Kunal. This is Nishi who's writing from Bangalore. Wants to know if BEML is a good buy at current buying price.
Yeah, it's a good stock to buy or look for a buy at current levels. The stock is still below its 200 moving averages. There is a gap of almost 600 points if I'm not wrong. 3750 is the 200 DMA, 3130 thereabouts is where the stock is trading right now. So which means a gap of 600 points for the stock to cover up, to at least come back to its 200 moving average before the stock normalizes back again. So I believe even in that context there could be a decent upside over the near to medium term. So would suggest the buy at current levels also for BEML.
Alright, then that's a take coming in as far as BEML is concerned. The next one that we have, China, is coming in from Vinod, writing to us from Gurugram. Wants to know about 2,000 shares of IDFC First Bank. Bought at a buy price of 69 rupees. What do you think about this one? Because Vinod has mentioned that he's a long-term investor, wants to know if he should be holding on or adding more.
Yeah, he can actually hold on. After almost 2 years, we are starting to see some good numbers as well as momentum come back, and also positive commentary from the management. So I would say you could hold, you could also add, but keep a stop loss of close to about 60, and you could hold it for the medium to 2-year period.
All right, that's the word coming in on IDFC First Bank. But Kunal, this query is for you. This one's from Tina. She wants to know, she's holding 2,100 shares of NMDC. Does it make sense to switch to a good power or a defense stock, or should she be holding NMDC for the next 12 to 18 months?
So it's a tough one because I am bullish on NMDC, but the only catch over here is that NMDC is a slight low beta stock as compared to the other peers. From the defense pack or the PSU peers, PSU basket as such. So maybe in that context, the stock could be a late starter. But then I would believe that whenever the stock, kickstarts its uptrend, you would probably expect that the stock goes into, months and quarters of a straight price uptick, for itself. So it's a very difficult one to answer because say maybe over the next 6 months, there could be a point where the defense stocks and the other PSU names, they can stand to outperform. But there would come a phase where NMDC would also get back into a breakout mode. And when that happens, the stock can play a very good catch up. So maybe if you're looking at this as specifically a 6 months to 1 year kind of a time horizon, then you can make a switch from NMDC to the other names. But as I said, that keep a watch whenever the stock gets into a breakout. I think that could be a point where you may want to be invested into NMDC back again.
Well, then that's a take coming in as far as NMDC is concerned. China, the next one that we have is coming in from Kavita, who's writing to us from Ohio in the US. Wants to know about 15,000 shares of IDBI Bank at a buy price of 89 rupees purchased for the long term. Now, of course, on a daily basis, the stock is down and out in trade, down about 2%. That's IDBI Bank for you. But what do you make of this one? 15,000 shares, 89 rupees is the buy price.
See, there's a lot happening in terms of potential M&A for IDBI Bank, and it is one of the prime candidates for that. In terms of numbers also, they are doing pretty well. There is the balance sheet quality that has improved substantially. So I would say you could hold, though she's making a bit of loss. I would say that you can hold, keep a stop loss of 80 if you like, and then you could hold it for close to about 93, 95 types of levels.
All right, that's IDBI Bank, bullish call coming in. But coming to you, Kunal, this one's a tough one. Kusuma is asking from Pune. She wants to know a technical 3 picks from the mid-cap space for the next 3 months for a 10 to 15% upside. Is something a lot of people might want to know, Kunal.
It's a tough one. And so I'll probably mix it, not specific towards mid caps, but I would probably look at large cap names as well. Something which I would be bullish on, and I think I've been signaling buy calls over the last 1 week independently, has been the IT stocks. I sense that you could be at a cusp of a decent contra trade for the IT names, and specifically if you have a time frame which is 3 to 6 months plus for the sector, assumingly for the sector, then I would believe that you can look at contra plays on IT stocks. Maybe something like Infosys, TCS at current levels could actually turn out to be good plays. You can also look at the mid cap category, L&T Finance. That's a chart which I believe is looking extremely attractive, and potential for the stock to break out closer to that 170, 175 plus mark, which has been a huge range of resistance for the stock. You can also look at Poonawalla FinCorp in case if the stock drifts down to sub 400 levels. I think that could be a good play for a potential near-term target of 440 to 450 with that kind of a time frame.
Alright, then that's the take coming in as far as that particular counter is concerned. The next query, Shahina, is coming in specially for you because we do have Krish writing to us from Chennai, wants to know about TVS Motors 50 shares at a buy price of 2,700 rupees thereabout. Outlook is 3 years. Wants to know if he should be adding more at this point.
See, TVS Motors actually, for a long time, it was in a consolidation phase because of expensive valuations. Here, I believe that once again, I think the movement can be pretty good. So he can add, keep a stop loss of 2,500. And if he's already holding it, that's great. But even otherwise, he can add and then he can hold it for something close to about 2,900. If he's a medium term investor, maybe 2 to 3 months or 6 months time, he can add.
All right, moving on then. This is Krishna who's writing from Chennai. The query is that he holds a TVS Motors. TVS Motors, we're done with this query. Let's go to another query. This is Ignatius who's writing from Kolkata. He's bought 20 stocks of Infosys at a buying price of 1,841 rupees and 20 stocks of HCL Tech at a buying price of 1,835. Can he hold it for a period of 1 more year? What are the targets to look out for? I'll come to you, Kunal. HCL Tech also came out with its results. Largely in line set. In fact, that's buoying the entire sentiment for the IT pack today. So today it's doing pretty well. But for the next 1 year, HCL Tech and Infosys, 2 IT majors. What's your outlook?
I would suggest to hold on to the stock, and if you've purchased at higher levels, not at current prices, but maybe I think at slight dips into the stock price, you can look at for a more of an accumulate on both Infosys as well as HCL Tech. I just flagged off that my sense is that we are looking at a potential contract up rally for many of these IT stocks, and looking at how the global markets are shaping up, there could be a point where you might expect that these stocks may try and catch up or at least play out a contra uptrend. You could probably expect that these stocks may land up closer to their 50 and their 200 moving averages respectively, or within that kind of a band. For example, for Infosys, that the current market price is around 1450, 1480 plus levels. The 50 DMA is at 1650 mark and the 200 DMA is at 1800 levels. So my sense is that hopefully in the next 1 to 3 months, you might expect that the stock may come back in between this 50 and their 200 moving averages. That could be a point where you may consider booking out profits.
Alright, then that's the take coming in as far as HCL Tech and Infosys are concerned. So that's quite the update coming in as far as some of those banking counters and IT pack counters are concerned. But time for a very quick breather on the show. On the other side, we'll continue taking all of your stock related queries, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Well, let's continue taking all of your stock related queries. The next one that we actually have, Kunal, is coming in from Ramesh, writing to us from the National Capital. Wants to know about SBI. Is it a good time to enter at current levels with a 2-year time frame in mind?
Yeah, it could be a good level to buy SBI because there are two parts to it. One is that the banking stocks have been starting to show signs of outperformance, and SBI of course is one of the formidable large cap PSU banking names. And eventually, I think after the private sector bank rally, you'll probably expect that SBI will also play a catch up pretty soon. The only concern could be the volatility which generally hangs around to the stock prices around results. That could be the only concern for the stock in the very immediate term. But I think assumingly, if the stock is able to ride through that kind of a initial phase of volatility, I believe from a medium to long term play, SBI could be a good bet at current levels.
All right, moving on from SBI, this is Karishma who's writing from Delhi. He's an ardent follower of the program. Thank you so much, Karishma. She wants to know, she's bought 2,000 shares of Motherswire wires at 66 rupees. She wants to know if she should average at the current market price. Kunal, this one would be for you then.
So I think Motherson wiring on the short-term charts doesn't look very attractive. I think the stock has been going through a major downtrend. Even on the short-term basis, it still looks like the stock is hanging around that range of 50 to 55 broadly. So not something which I'll be bullish on. So I would suggest an avoid.
That's an avoid coming in as far as Motherson Sumi wiring is concerned. The next one that we actually have, China, is coming in from K. Narayana Reddy, writing to us from Warangal. Wants to know about 200 shares of Reliance Industries. Buy price is 1,550 rupees thereabout. What do you make of this one?
Reliance Industries actually, if there again, after quite a bit of consolidation, now it's on an up move. I would say it's a good buy, it's a good hold. We are hearing that Geo will eventually be listed in the coming year. And I think that would be a good positive news trigger for the stock to move up further. Oil prices, crude oil prices are low. So I think to that extent, you can see a positive uptick on their petrochem division. So I would say it's a hold at current levels. And you could add at any dips that you get, you could add and then hold for the medium to longer term. So if you like, you can keep a stop loss close to about 1200 if you're a shorter term investor.
All right, moving on then from there, let's go across. Kunal, I'll come to you for this one then. It is Suresh writing from Chalakuri, Kerala. He wants to know, he's holding 200 shares of Federal Bank at a buying price of 192 rupees. Should he buy more at this current juncture? Can he add more to his portfolio?
So it's a good stock to hold on to. I would not suggest a buy almost exactly at current levels of 200 thereabouts, because I would sense that there could be a mild bit of a further correction into the stock, because today for the first time I think you're seeing signs of Bank Nifty underperforming, and within Bank Nifty it's more of the private sector banking names which are taking a bit of a backseat. So maybe this could be a 2-3 day phenomena where you might see individual banking stocks seeing some bit of profit booking. And I would suggest that take opportunity of that correction if in case that happens over the next couple of days. Maybe closer to 193, 195 range could be a better range if you're looking to buy Federal Bank.
Alright, and the next one that we actually have is coming in from Ashwin, who's writing to us from Mumbai. Shahina wants to know about Vun Beverages. Buy price is 368 rupees. Wants to know if he should be adding or holding.
Vun Beverages, of course, it's one of the expensive stocks, but at the same time, we are seeing a good growth that is coming in. It's extremely expensive. So if I was a long-term investor, I would hold. I believe even short-term, actually, it does look like it's showing a bounce. But in terms of fundamentals, I would say since it's expensive, I would personally say it is better to switch to some other FMCG stock, something that is likely to do better in the shorter term, something like a HUL or even an ITC.
All right, moving on then, coming to you, Kunal. This one's from Dipesh from Mumbai. He's bought 1,000 shares of Vodafone Idea at a buying price of 8.5 rupees. He's not written the question, but I'm guessing the question is whether he should be holding on to it or how should he be playing this counter?
So purely on a trading basis, you can hold on to the stock, because my expectation is that maybe over the next few weeks you might expect Vodafone Idea to maybe make a comeback and cross that levels of 8 to 8.5, which was hit I think a week or two back for the stock on the back of news flow. And if in case that happens, you might probably expect the stock to gradually start a short-term trading upside. But then I think also have to look at the stock has been a huge underperformer in the last many years, and it still looks like the stock is into a major downtrend on the long-term charts. So purely a trading play, and you might look out for a retest of 8.5 to 9+ mark for Vodafone Idea in the next few weeks.
Alright, then that's the take coming in as far as Vodafone Idea is concerned. The next one, Shahina, that we have is coming in from Anju, who's writing to us from UAE. Wants to know about 1,200 shares thereabout of BEL at a buy price of 290 rupees. What is the target that she should be looking forward to when it comes to selling this counter? Wants to know what she should be doing when it comes to BEL.
Actually, I would sort of like to avoid, because I have just recently bought the stock. So I think I will like to avoid, but that just shows that I'm very positive of the longer term prospects for the company.
Longer term prospects, Kunal, what do you make of this one? 1,200 shares at a buy price of 290 rupees?
Well, I would suggest a hold. I think it's a good stock to hold on to. Long-term charts extremely attractive. The stock being a lot more resilient on the overall market front, especially I think at a point where the markets were extremely volatile. So I think in that context, I would suggest a hold.
All right, Kunal, again a question for you. Your view on Ashok Buildcoin, couple of stocks there, Ashok Buildcoin, Delta Corp and NHPC on a fresh purchase. They have not written their name, but that's the question.
So NHPC is something which you can consider as a buy. I think the stock seems to be starting to look a little bit more attractive, looking at the way the stock has given a potential breakout, more like a double bottom and RSI divergence pattern on the daily, weekly charts. Even Ashoka Buildcon, I think that's a stock which I think at around 200 mark, if I'm not wrong, is giving signs of a breakout above its 50-day moving average. Potentially, you can look out for say closer to 220-ish kind of a near-term target for the stock, assuming if it's a near-term play. Delta Corp is something which I would avoid, especially given the way the stock has been trending lower over the last 2 to 3 so doesn't look like a trading kind of a play. Would suggest an avoid on Delta Corp.
Alright, that's an avoid coming in as far as Delta Corp is concerned. China, the next one is coming in from Sudhir, writing to us from Hyderabad. Wants to know about L&T. What do you make of this particular counter for the next 3 months in mind?
For the shorter term, I prefer Kunal answers it, but for the longer term, yeah, it's got huge order book position. So if you're a long-term investor, it looks like a good time to invest and hold for the long term.
Also, would you like to weigh in when it comes to the next 3 months in mind?
I think it's a good, stock to, I would not say buy at exactly current levels, but it's a good stock to trade and hold on to it from long-term play. Buying price for L&T, I would believe, could be a little bit more better. The stock is still not being as, highly correlated with respect to the index moves. There could be a corrective wave which may come back again, maybe a couple of days of odd correction, say closer to 3200 mark, 3180 levels. That could be a point where you may consider buying L&T if you're looking at it as a short-term play.
All right, with that, it's time for a quick breather. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll get you more questions and we'll get them answered by the expert. But stay tuned for that on the other side.